Australian adventurer who set multiple endurance world records. He's paddled solo across oceans. Named Men's Health Man of the Year 2015.
First time I was sitting on top of a hot air balloon over Tennessee watching the sunrise, and it was the most grateful I'd ever felt.
Nominated for Australian of the Year and featured in National Geographic documentaries like Heart of the Sea.
I paddled from the Gold Coast down to Bondi for 17 days in the ocean by myself, by hand that was as well. We've still got another about 10K to go and come back.
Oh.
So I'm like, it's just there. No.
Welcome back to Teabaggers. We're back in the studio today and we have a very special guest with us. This man holds, at current count, 20 world records, all in the extreme sports place. He is a high performer. He's a high performance coach. He's been on Gladiator and he's going to tell us some stories today. We have Damien Rider. Welcome to Teabaggers.
G'day guys, how are you?
Welcome, Damien. Thanks for taking the time out to speak to us today.
Hey, thanks for having me, man, and congratulations on all you're doing as well. Like, your products are fantastic and brings, fun to the game and really opens up that tunnel vision for everyone to be able to really just get out on the field and start knocking some balls around.
Yeah, that's it. So this particular episode is probably not our traditional sort of golfer episode, but we are going to relay it back to some golf terminologies and things like that. But Damien, firstly, I'd like to ask, what's your golf actually like?
Look, it's not great, but I do love being out there, and I do love, when you hit that sweet spot on the ball and and as soon as it comes off the club, that sound that it makes, you're like, oh, hit a good one.
Yeah.
It's kind of like when you get that nice, perfect jab.
Yeah, and generally that's like hole 18 and you've had to be frustrated all day, like, fuck golf, and then you pure one off the tee on 18, you're like, oh, I love golf. How good's this?
Yeah. Look, and I see a lot of guys who play golf, they're like that as well. It goes out, they go out there, it's for fun, and then all of a sudden they hit that perfect ball and they're like, oh, this is why I do it.
Yeah.
And then that seems to be the hook that keeps driving them back again as well.
Yeah,
waiting to get that nice, sweet hit again. And it doesn't always come, but when it does come, then they're like, oh, this is why I do it.
Yeah, 100%. So as Sean said in the intro, 20 world records. Now, is that some sort of world record itself of holding 20 world records? Or is there someone else that's done something stupider?
Look, they're world records because they're world first.
Right.
So they have to be because no one else has done them, really.
Yep.
So I just like to do things that no one else has done because then I don't even know if it's possible. So I've just got to tell myself, hey, look, I can do this even though it hasn't been done. And then I'll just figure it out to get it done.
Yep. So I want to go back to the very first time you started on that journey to just do stuff that no one's ever done before. What was that one like?
Well, the first one was my biggest one, really. I paddled from the Gold Coast down to Bondi for 17 days in the ocean by myself, by hand that was as well.
By hand?
So I hadn't even ran a marathon before then. I just thought I'd walk down to my local beach, put the board in the water and start going. But obviously there's a process that leads up to that. I can't just hop on the board and go. So it was 8 months that I pretty much just put people aside and really focused on myself to be the strongest version that I possibly could be. And I've been through a lot of therapies and stuff over the years, and I just thought, you know what, I'm just going to work all this out myself and trial and error for what I know. And then 8 months later, walked down, board in the water, and I had no idea what was going to happen along the way. All I knew was I had to get from the Gold Coast down to Bondi.
And how far is that, just for the people at home that are
68 kilometres.
68 kilometres.
68 kilometres on the first leg.
Yep.
So even in training consecutively, I'd only paddled 40 kilometres. So it was more than I'd ever done in training as well. So now I'd driven that plenty of times, so I knew where I was going and I could see the headland ahead where I needed to get to. But I mean, there was a lot along the way. But for me, I don't really overthink things that are coming up ahead because I don't know what's happening, So all I do is just focus on just staying calm to be able to get to different checkpoints along the way. And they might be just headlands along the way. There might be rocks along the way. They might come down to trees along the way. It might be just a person walking along the beach along the way. Just so long as I know I'm always still moving forward.
Yep.
What did you do for eating?
Well, I carried food on my board, and that one I pre-sent the next day's rations to different surf clubs that I wanted to get to along the way.
Oh, yeah.
So I kind of mud mapped it out and I thought, the first 2 days I probably got a bit of energy. Third day, probably not so much. And then there's a big gap between the next one. So I kind of mapped it out with different surf clubs who are absolutely incredible. They just looked after me, said, yeah, put your board in, have a sleep, whatever you need. So I did that. So the next day I would just load up my board and just keep on going. But a couple of times I didn't actually make it to the destination because our Google Maps just threw me out, maybe 17 Ks, which is about 3 hours for me.
Yeah.
And when you get into about 6:30 at night and the sun's going down, sharks popping up, it's kind of like, all right, it was time to come in. So a couple of times I just had to come in on the beach. It's like a big open random beach and just dig a hole in the sand and just lay in it, put the board over the top so I was protected from any rain or anything.
Yeah.
And get up in the morning and just start paddling again.
Gee whiz, that's a pretty insane story there.
That's awesome.
Yeah, no, well, that's it's the one question obviously everyone's now asking. We do have a lot of American viewers and Australia is known for sharks. Surely there was a couple sharks along the way that would have thought you're a bit tasty or something. Any encounters there?
Yeah, on the first time I had 21 shark encounters over the 17
21?
days. 21, yeah.
Yeah, right.
And I would say 17 of those were great whites.
Yep.
Most of them are around 15 foot, and the biggest one I saw was 22 foot.
Shit.
That was coming down near Hawk's Nest, down that way. But, yeah, I got circled plenty of times. I got knocked off twice. And on one of the times, it hit me so hard that I had an 18-foot long board and with a rudder on it. So the fin had actually snapped around sideways. And I had to wait until I could see him up ahead and get off and swim to the back of the board, straighten the fin and then have a look and then climb back on the board and sort of just sit there nice and quiet, hoping he wasn't going to get me as he circled around again. So there was a few of those, but it's also when the sharks were coming, I'd try and hug the coast a little bit more, like come in a bit. But because I was coming in, then the bombies, like the big waves, just sort of come and grab me.
Yep.
And because the board's very corky and I was tied to it with a leg rope, it would just twist up and I would get stuck underneath the board underwater and just get dragged for about 400 meters.
Yeah, right.
So for about 45 seconds to a minute, just getting dragged underwater by these big waves and the whitewash. And then I'd come to a couple of times I woke up underwater, so I'd actually passed out twice and then have to like unravel myself and then try and get back out through it again while the shark still, I know he's hanging out there as well. You know, so being it was my first event, there was a lot of tests that I had to go through with that, you know, and make that decision. I'm close to the shore, do I go in? Or do I try and get back out through these waves knowing that there's a 15-footer waiting for me out there as well? So for me, it became simple. It was like, well, I quit or I keep going. If I keep going, that's what's out there. So just keep going.
Just keep going. No, very good. So as we were sort of preparing for you coming in today, we started thinking of like, oh, what golf world records could you try or we try? Or so we did a bit of research. There was a couple there that we had, wasn't there, Sean?
Yeah. So the most the most golf played in a day in a 24-hour period.
So most holes.
Most holes was 420 holes in a 24-hour period.
Now, we thought that was an extreme amount.
So we think it works out to, is it 26 rounds of golf in 24 hours?
Because you want to be good at golf, though.
You want to be good.
That's probably where we're going to struggle.
So it was in 2019, Half Moon Bay in California.
Yeah.
Walked the whole
Great
entire
spot.
distance at 105 miles.
Yep.
And only used an 8-iron. So you had one
really?
club.
Okay.
Yep. The other impressive one we found, so we know the Nullarbor Golf Links. Have you heard of that course here in Australia?
Yeah.
So it goes from Ceduna in South Australia to Kalgoorlie. It's the longest golf course in the world.
It's 1,365 kilometres. And so for the Americans, that's 850 miles.
Okay.
Averages about 66 kilometres between holes.
Okay.
And a couple in 2010 raising money for the Royal Flying Doctor Service walked and played the course in 27 days.
Okay, yeah, I could beat that.
Yeah.
So that's what we wanted to talk to you about. If Sean
Not
and
that
I,
that's not a great feat at all, but my mind just quickly like weighs
doing
up and
math?
does the sums and goes, yeah, okay, yeah, that's doable.
Yeah.
So for if Sean and I were going to wake up tomorrow and say we're going to walk the Nullarbor golf course and try and beat this record, what are the first steps we need to change around train our mindset and things like that for us to even attempt this type of feat?
So for the first thing, I mean, I just did it in my head very quickly. Like, what's that take? 10 seconds, 10 seconds. I'm able to work out that I can do that.
Yep.
So, but I've been doing this for a long time. The thing that you do is just know that that's what you're going to do. See yourself that you've done it. And then the steps that come back, okay, what do I need to do to achieve that? And it would be, where do I start? How do I train? Who do I need to talk to? You obviously need to talk to your family to say, I'm going away for a while to do this, right? So you come all the way back down to your foundation, and then once that's there and you see the clear pathway, then what I do is that person who I need to be there, how I need to play, how I need to train, everything about that, the golf clubs I need to use, the balls, how many balls, I bring that person down to this where we are now. So it's already done. So inside me, it's a knowing that it's already done, and then I just start walking towards it.
Yeah. How do you find, my understanding is I'm already done it, but for someone like me, and I'm in sort of much smaller sort of experiences, your mind changes back and you all of a sudden start doubting yourself. Like, how do you make sure that mindset just does not change?
So it's just practice. So the way to do it is just practice on little things throughout the day and just testing and challenging yourself. Like we all do, like which way we're going to drive to work, how we're going to walk, all that sort of stuff. Mm-hmm. But it's about understanding that process. I mean, you guys do it here all the time when you're building a new product, when you're scaling up, all those sorts of things. And it's just not having that doubt at all. It's like, hey, you know what? We like this. This is going to do well. We're going to put this product out there. So it's exactly the same process. You just got to see where you're practicing it all day, every day. It's time with the kids, time in the business, time on the driving range, time on the course. So all of those things, you just get to practice all day instead of what most people do is they separate segments out of their day, these different job tasks, to how do we deal with this? How do we learn how to do this better? How do we deal with the pressure? How do we deal with the stress on this side? And then try to relearn it on this side and this side and this side instead of just connecting everything together because it's all integrated. So the more that you can integrate it, then the more that you empower yourself that you can go and do everything. And then the way to be able to do everything is just go back to that child mentality of just go and do it and see what happens. Because what's the worst that's going to happen, right? So even doing that, 27 days, you go, right, well, I'm going to do it in 22 days. But if you do it in 23 days, it gives a shit. It doesn't matter. So what you're doing is taking the pressure off. And because you're taking the pressure off it, then you take all the doubt off it as well. Because you just think about just getting it done.
If we're doing it in 23 days, how many Ks a day do we have to walk?
Yeah.
What's that? 1365. Rowan, can you do that while we're
pull that one up for
how
us,
many Ks we have to walk and how many? I like you thinking of a day. We're going to walk 60 Ks a day.
Right. So that means you'd be able to do it.
Which is it's average between holes a year is 66. The longest one is
200.
200, yeah.
Case.
24 hours without the rest, yeah. So I reckon I would do it in 9 days.
9 days?
Yeah.
Shit. All right, that would be a good challenge.
Yeah.
Yeah, 9 days. I'm
how
sure
many golf balls do you reckon you're going to need?
I don't know. I'm going to need a few. Definitely.
Which of the world records is your favourite? Do you have one that you really like? I loved that one. That was one that stands out above the others.
Definitely the first one. The first big paddle changed my life, and it was there was so many firsts in it. The first time the only time I'd overcome PTSD. The first big event that I've done. First time of having a real understanding of my direction and purpose and vision and goals in life as well. First time I was really proud of myself. First time I was the happiest I'd ever been in my life. So that will always stay with me, and I'll be forever grateful for that paddle because it led on to everything else. Like that moment I stepped on a Bondi and, not knowing what had happened to me, but just thinking, right, how do I share this with the world? And then I had to work out what it was that I was sharing really. So then the rest of the events just sort of flowed on from there. So they all look like I'm doing random things, but they're all about learning different ways how to keep calm in different situations for that to be able to translate that to everyone else. But then, I've got some some great ones as well. Like the first time I was sitting on top of a hot air balloon over Tennessee watching the sunrise at 10,000
so explain
feet.
that one to the people that didn't know, because when I heard the story, and I told you before, for some reason I must have been under a rock somewhere because I hadn't heard of all these crazy feats. But you did say you didn't do it for popularity and things like that. It was around searching for things for yourself. But yeah, explain to us how the hot air balloon event came about.
So I just came about. I was in the US when COVID had hit, and I was over there. I'd been there for 5 days, and I was supposed to do this book tour around all the Barnes & Noble's books, but the whole world shut down 5 days after I got there, and it was 2.5 years before I could get back.
Oh, really?
So once, and I was like, shit. So I ended up just writing courses and stuff, and I started thinking about, different events that I could do once it starts to open up again. And I was speaking to this producer, and he said, look, well, if you could do anything, what would it be? And instantly my mind just went, I remember being 12 years old, sitting in this hot air balloon basket thinking, this is a bit squishy in here. I wish I was sitting on top. So I said, I'll sit on top of a hot air balloon and watch the sunrise.
Yep.
And then I was like, well, I might as well jump off. And he's like, I didn't know you skydived. I haven't seen any of that. I said, no, I don't. but I'll work it out because that's got to be part of it,
easy
right?
bit, doesn't it?
And he's like, can you stand on top of a hot air balloon? I went, well, I don't know. We'll find out, I guess. And then I just went and got my skydive license, found a guy who was going to put me on top of a hot air balloon, and up we went and did it. And it was kind of funny, that one was as well, because here I am in Tennessee in the countryside, and there was some safety procedures. I had to have ropes coming down on either side, and the top of a hot air balloon is actually loose. It's just this loose parachute, and just the load tape's not attached to it because that's why they pull down and the air escapes and you come down, right? So there's about 10 foot that's loose around it. So I had to put this tarpaulin from the center, this little center platform that I made, out to the edge of the envelope of the balloon, so I had something that I could walk across here or just cat crawl across. But they had to pull these ropes tight, so the tarp was tight for me.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm up on top, and I haven't left the ground yet, but I'm on top of the balloon. And I'm having a look, and I'm like, yeah, that is not going to hold me. So I'm yelling down, hey, can you grab the rope? Can you grab the rope? And all I could hear back was, I can't believe that there's an Australian on top of a hot air balloon. And I'm like, yeah, cool. But grab the rope. How beautiful is it out here? And I'm like, grab it. Well, too late, we're up in the air.
Yeah.
And we're already up, and I was like, all right, well, this is what I've got to deal with then. And I'm looking at it just thinking, yeah, that's not going to hold me. So all I did was went, oh, well. So I sat down and just started to watch the sunrise and just thought, you know what? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what's going on in my life. I'm here right now, first person in the world to sit on top of a hot air balloon to watch the sunrise. And I don't care what's going to happen in 20 minutes from now because I don't know. Just enjoy this moment right now. And it was the most grateful I'd ever felt in my whole life and the most present. And I remember just thinking, people talk about you just got to be present. This is what present is right now. I don't care what's happened before. I don't care where I'm going. Here we are. Until I hear this, you got to jump because the balloon's going to catch fire. And I'm like, all right. Good thing I've got a parachute on. Hope you're all right. And then I start crawling across, and I'm crawling across, and it's hot, obviously, because heating up. And I'm thinking, I hope they've looked down to see where I'm going to land because I can't see.
Yeah.
I'm just on a balloon, right? So I'm crawling across, and I was thinking, what's going to happen here? When I get to the edge, I stand to the edge, and it's kind of like a jumping castle. I'm like, oh, yeah, this is all right. I'm standing here. And then I just start running. I just start running down one of the load tapes. And I'm thinking, why am I still running? What's going on here? I can see them in a basket. Shit, I better jump off. And I'll jump, and there's a photograph of me, and I'm running about 3 stories down, running down this balloon. Yeah. And I don't even know how it's possible. And so I just jump off, and I'm flying in the air going, oh, how cool is this? And then I had to look down and go, shit, where am I going to land? And then picked a field there and pulled my chute and guided myself in. But it was like absolutely incredible, like an amazing moment out of all of my events. And all of my events give me something special, every one of them. But they're definitely the two standouts. And then I've just done the paddle again, like except on an aqua bike. So from the Gold Coast down to Bondi. And it was so different to the first time. The first time, as I said, I had 21 shark encounters. I only had 3 this time, and they kind of just left me alone. Everything just left me alone. I was in tune with the ocean and just in this beautiful rhythm with it, with Mother Nature. And first time I was carrying a heavy load on my shoulders from my childhood. But this time, because I knew I was in such an amazing place in my life, that I was just able just to really expand and enjoy the moment the whole way along. So even though it was tough, like still 13 to 15 hours a day and still going 800 kilometers, I was like, most of the time it was really just like going for a Sunday ride, except I was looking back at the shore, and just cruising along. And there's still a lot of things I was going along with. Like I'd only ridden the bike in the Pat. I hadn't ridden it in the ocean at all. Not even built for that. Here I am in 6 foot swell and there's like a bike with these pontoons and water police call me. They're like, yeah, are you the one riding the bike out in the water? I said, yeah, what's going on? They're like, just making sure that you got your flotation devices. And I said, well, I'm riding a flotation device. And they're like, well, you can't be, I'll probably get in trouble here, but they're like, well, have you got an EPIRB? And I said, no, I don't need one. And he goes, just don't be more than like 2 kilometers offshore. No, I'll have a look. I'm about 4 kilometers at this time. I'm like, no, I'll be all right, So I try not to do the wrong things, but sometimes, it's just, I get excited and push across. So that one's really big, like, milestone for me because that was 10 years. That marked 10 years. First one was 2015 and this one 2025. So it was such a big milestone for me to go back and do that again and just really solidify everything that I'd learned over the last 10 years to really put into practice to see where I was at to go to the next level of my life.
Yeah. You speak about being present, and that was the real thing. How do you think sometimes golfers can adapt to, they're out on the course, they're not really present, their missus could have told them, hey, make sure you're home by X amount and don't be drunk or whatever, and, or they have a bad shot and their mind moves and they're not present in the moment. Is there anything we can sort of talk to the listeners at home around some techniques about being present in sort of even just a round of golf?
Yeah, look, definitely. I mean, it's about bookending your days and different job tasks that you're doing in the day as well. So, when you get there, just get out of your car even before you grab your clubs and start walking up. It's just take that breath and just stop and just be in that moment. Okay, I'm here. It doesn't matter what's going on in the rest of my life right now. I'm just here to play golf. So just drop everything away because you're going to do the rounds. You're out there. You're out there for 4 hours or something, right? So it's just about, okay, well, I'm going to do this anyway. So let's just drop all that away. Any problems that I do have, they're still going to be there afterwards. But this is for me now. So you do that. So that puts you right in that moment, in that present moment. And then that way you're taking all the weight off your shoulders. So you're going to have a better game anyway. And then if you do have a shoot shot, just like observe what you actually did on that shot. And most of the times it'll be because your mouth was closed, you're too in your head, thinking about other things instead of just getting in the flow state of seeing the hole, understanding what you're going to do, telling your body, this is the shot I'm going to do, and that's where it's going to land, set up and hit.
Yeah. So once again, it's already done.
It's already done.
Yeah.
Yeah. Instead of, I remember last week when I was here and I was hitting this hole and, oh my God, that was happening to me. And I was thinking this and the ball went off on the side and the wind was strong and all that sort of thing. It's a different day. It's a different hole. So every time you go into something, it's always, this is new right now. So every hole is a new hole when you're starting your day. It's like, so you just leave everything else behind, breathe again, look, play your shot. So it's just simplifying everything in your life. So you become more efficient of what you're doing. And then the more efficient you become in your life and when you're playing, then the more that you're in the flow state. And we've all been in the flow state before, where everything's just going perfect. Like, shit, how good's this? But if you have a look at those moments, you're not distracted with everything else as well. And a big thing to do is just, if you have your lips closed together, usually you're not listening to someone, you're waiting to talk. But if your lips are closed together also, your mind's running around. So you're internalizing everything. As soon as you open your lips just a little bit, you start absorbing what the other person's saying. So you get to hold space for them. But when you do it as well, you get to hold space for yourself. So that noise goes and you start to take in the outside surroundings. So that's why golf's so amazing, because there's so much movement going on. So instead of being tunnel vision, even though you're looking at that hole, you need to open yourself up here. So a lot of golfers, punters on the weekend, they go and play golf because they've got other problems going on in their life, and that's their, let's say, escape or their way just to give back to themselves. Let's put it in a nicer way. So, for them, it's just about enjoying that moment, but being able to open it up, and just being able to look around. And same thing, go back to when we were kids. You see little kids, it's windy, they kind of turn their head and they feel the wind and they're like, what is this? And they start feeling what it is. We just go, oh, it's windy. Oh, it's hot. Oh, it's sunny. Instead of really understanding it. And then why that's important is because we start living in this tunnel vision. So if 10% of our day is made up of problems because we're in this tunnel vision, as soon as you start opening up the world, that 10% becomes nothing. Absolutely nothing. So you're able to take in more information. So we go more into our primal state just to be able to desensitize all those problems. So we're not stopping and blocking, and we're not using golf as a way of a vice to get away from those problems. We're able to allow it just to leave us because we're taking in more movement around us. So then we connect back with our breath, connect with ourselves, and connect with movement, which we're supposed to do. Then you're going to have a better game.
All right, while we're talking about golf, I want to just get back to a bit of a story of yours in your youth around golf. Do you want to tell us about your experiences with the course?
Yeah, sure. So I lived down in North Glenelg, and I was about 6 years old, and I was walking past the Pat, hole one, and I'm having a look through the fence. I see this guy, he tees off straight into the water trap, and he's walking past, and I was like, hey, mate, you going to get your ball? He's like, oh, no, I'm not going in there. I said, I'll get it. I'm a 6-year-old kid. I'll get it, thinking I'll do something good for him. Under the fence, I go, run in. I'm like, is this your ball? And he goes, nah. I was like, there's balls everywhere in here.
Gold mine.
Yeah. So I'm like, and he goes, I'll give you $1 for that one. I thought, cha-ching, here we go. Right, nice. So I used to just go down there, and the guys in the pro shop knew I'm a 6-year-old kid, what are they going to say? So I'm just like going down there with my bucket. I'd fill my bucket full of balls, wash all the balls, and the next day I'd walk around and start selling them. But then I was like, all right, how am I going to make more money? I want to get $2 from a ball instead of $1 now. So I learned which balls went further than another one. So as a sales pitch, so I'd cut them in half and see what was inside. So I'd go, hey, you could have this ball for $1 or this one for $2 because this one's got
da-da-da-da-da. What year are we talking? Just so golfers know in terms of what the balls would have likely been.
81.
81, yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Yep.
So 81 to 84, I was doing this. And I was making pretty good money. I make about $600 on a weekend, which is good, right?
Shit.
Back then.
I think my mum was only making about $300 in the job she was doing.
Yeah.
And working all week. So I was doing pretty good. But then there's one time, it was coming towards the end of it. I was about 9 by this stage. My brother and I were out there, and there was about 4 guys, and we'd sold balls. I'd sold balls to 4 of them. 3 of them paid, 1 of them didn't. And I was like, oh, mate, you got to give us $2 for the ball. And he's like, no, you got it free, and I'm not paying you. His mates are going, yeah, just give him his $2. He's like, no, I'm not paying. So I mouth off to him. He thinks he's doing a thing. He cracks his shits and throws his club at me, his wood. He can't pass. I just grabbed him and said, keep the ball, mate. And I just take off with his wood. I sold that the next day. So that was how my golfing experience started.
That's a great story. As I said, I did mention to you that's quite common in Fiji. You see that on the golf course. So, 40 odd years earlier. Yeah. Old Damien was doing it when he was 6 years old. Cool. So one of the other feats you've done, or I'll actually just go back, what's the reason between calling them events and challenges? I'd love you to sort of explain, because everyone will think, oh, well, that's a challenge to run a marathon with a mattress on your back, that's not an event. But you always say they're events, aren't they?
Yeah, they're events for me, because if I say they're a challenge, then that means I'll put a wall up even before I've started. That is something difficult that I'm going into rather than just going and doing an event. So for everyone else calls them challenges, and the media does, because that's what people are used to saying. But for me, words are powerful of what you say, and, whether you're grinding, if you grind, then everything you do in life's tough, so it's just about changing those words. Again, it's becoming more efficient within yourself by removing all the doubt, which we spoke about before. It's really just about removing the doubt from yourself and opinions of other people as well, just to be able to be more efficient in your thinking, just to go and get things done. So even that, the big course, the Nullarbor one, people say, I'm going to do this big challenge. I'm going to hit all these things, instead of I'm just going to go out there and play 18 holes. And that's kind of all you're doing, really, isn't it? So just breaking it back down. And again, if we go back to the guys out on the course, what can they do? It's just the same thing, just break it all the way back down. And it's about embodying everything as well. So we were talking a little bit before about, people are so focused on their swing, their stance, and all that is super important to be able to do. But also you got to embody that and not just overthink it as well. You're always fine tuning. But if you're always just thinking about that, then you're sitting at a ceiling. What you want to be doing every time you're going out there is push the ceiling. And then the next time you're out there, that ceiling becomes your baseline for you to expand open again. And the only way that you're going to expand is if you open yourself up, have a little look around, then go back down to it. Otherwise, all the noises just start stacking up in your head, and you end up having like emotional pressure put on you. Now, we all operate highly, especially you guys in business, with high pressure and high stress, but we don't want to have the emotion behind that as well. So we don't want to be stacking 3 things at once. We want to be using that, pushing our pressure and pushing our stress to get us up to the next level in business, next level in golf, wherever we're going, but we don't have that emotion behind us. So that's what people do. Like if they have a bad hole, they're not stacking the pressure of the next hole, they're stacking the emotions. So it's just about dropping those away, getting back to your open space again, have a little look around, take that breath. Cool. All right. And pull everything together. So it's important to have all the technique and everything that I do, all of my events. I train specifically for them, specific movements, so I'm not overtraining. But it's just about embodying that. So when I'm there on the day, I don't need to think about those things, because what I've got, the vessel I have right now to do that event, that's what I've got to work with. I can't do another push-up. I can't do another row. I can't do whatever else. Whatever I've got there on the day, that's what I've got to work with. And it's the same thing if you're going out to play golf as well. All your training comes down to then. The only time that you'll have a golfer or any athlete will have a shit performance is if they haven't done the pre-work.
Yeah.
And they know.
And that would
boxers do it all the time.
Pretty common that a lot of golfers would be swing coach, this new club, new shaft, new everything else, but the mental practice and training probably is the one they may forget. Would that be pretty common for?
Yeah, definitely. They're not capturing those moments, and when you do have a good shot, capture it with your breath. Just take it in. Like, yes, there's a moment just in between. Say if you got a hole in one that you internalize, fuck yeah. Then the arm goes up, rah, and you see it in everyone, right? They're like, get that nice little shot in, goes in the cup, and then they'll sit there, then it's up. You need to capture that moment. So then every time you're in doubt in your head, you just take that breath, and your nervous system will take you back to all of those moments you played those good shots, not the bad ones. But what people do, they stack up all the bad ones. Shit, this is going to be a bad one as well. This hole I played last week, it was terrible. I'm going to have a terrible shot again. Instead of just dropping all that, breathing, thinking about all the good times they played that hole, and just play it.
Yep. No, fair enough. One of the things we saw on the PGA Tour last week was a guy called Tommy Fleetwood, UK guy.
He's UK. He's had, I think, the most top 10s and most top 5s without a win on the PGA Tour. He was 2 shots up with, 2 holes to play?
And comfortably winning throughout the 4 things, but came down the last 2 holes and I'll use the word choked, didn't get the win effectively. What is it, something that with all the things that you've learned and all the events you've done that could help someone that's, 4 rounds of golf, absolutely killed it, comes around to 2 really crucial holes and then...
Because in that example, he would have got to that point and you'd imagine that the burden of all of those failures, even if he's not trying to think about it, just must have came in and you just couldn't block it out because then it happened again. So even if he hadn't pre-practiced it, what's in that moment to do?
So he's not practicing how he deals with that high pressure moment. He's practicing for the good moments would be the main part. And what I would do, they're probably time bound for how long they can take the shot for, but just step out of it. If you're in your head, just step out. Just walk away for a minute. When you're ready, take a couple of breaths. Again, look around, everything else around you. And it's not distracting, it's opening yourself up. So you just step away. When you're calm, take that out breath, step forward, start walking up to it. And when you walk up to it, it's just like it's first hole of the day. This isn't like the winning putt. This is the first one of the day.
Yep.
So let's just get started.
Yep.
So in that way, the pressure comes off.
Yeah. You do a lot of breathwork stuff. Is that would you say that's your specialty in terms of some coaching?
Well, it's everyone's specialty.
Yeah. You're in trouble if it's not. That's very true. I personally haven't done, I've heard about it a lot. I haven't done any breath work or anything like that. Is there something that you could just share with us, some techniques we could try?
Sure. Okay. So there's all different sorts of techniques for breath work. But for me, it's always just been about how can I stay the calmest that I can be. That's physically, mentally, emotionally as well. So what you can do is just inhale slowly through your nose all the way down to your belly, hold for 2, and as slow as you can, just release it through your mouth. When you're exhaling through your mouth, just relax your face, relax your neck, relax your shoulders, and then just go down to a calm breath from inhale to exhale. And all you got to do every single time that you're taking an inhale and an exhale, just ask yourself, can I make this even more soft and even more gentle next time?
Yeah. The first thing, I was just doing it then. I was actually, without you saying it, I was just trying to do it gently. It was sort of just sort of what happened, but I can see how you can focus on that. And
yeah, because it's the conscious decisions that you're doing. Yeah. So everything else that's going on, because people say they're multitask, but we switch from one to another. But if we give it something, our monkey mind, something dominant, which is our breath, that's why you have a little competition with yourself, like how can I make this even more smooth and calm? Then that's what we start thinking about. But also we're telling ourselves, all right, how can we calm our breath? So then we're giving ourselves those words as well to calm ourselves down. And you feel your back and your lats and everything just kind of open up. So instead of just nasal breathing, which some people do, when you nasal breathe, it holds the energy up high. So we just want to release through our mouth so our lats and everything come down. We're telling ourselves, relax your face, because most people screw their face up like that. So then that's putting pressure right on our brain and that.
Through here, sort of, when I did it. Did you do it?
Or I've done a bit of breath work. Certainly not an experience at it. But
is it something that you, as say, if you're coaching an elite athlete, elite golfer, say, let's say, is it something that they would be working on multiple times throughout the day, or
all day?
All day.
Yeah. So it's a way that you pull like a reset button all day. Yeah. Just take that breath, bookends. Here we go. We're starting again. So you want to, it's a practice for a reason. You got to practice, same as golf. Get better, you got to practice, right? But most people, like, we get taught to breathe wrong. And people, when I first do breath work with people, they're like, I'm alive, so how am I doing it wrong? You're like, well, you're doing it, but it's not very efficient. Same as like a golf swing, right? Anyone can go out there and just whack a ball, but to hit it good is different, right? There's that technique and everything that becomes a part of you. Now you can't do it any other way. That's just how you are. So it's just about, all people need to do is just have breaths with intention. And that can just be 5 times a day. We take between 19,000 and 23,000 breaths per day.
Is that right?
Yeah, right? So if you do 5, there's not many, right? So 5, just stop, breathe in, just breathe out. And that's it. If you do it 5 different times a day, and not when the shit's hitting the fan, just in all different situations. You might be driving your car, you might be at home with your kids, you might be in the shopping line, you might be working, you might be on a call, wherever it is, just take that breath. So you're always pulling yourself down, not waiting for yourself to spike before, oh shit, I've got to take that breath. But if you do spike up in the day, and then later on you think, oh shit, they've got bloody guy saying, take the breath. Oh, I'll remember next time. No, do it right there and then. As soon as you remember, you just take it. And the same as like how you talk as well. You know, if you think, oh shit, you know, that was probably negative of how I said that or how I spoke about myself, then just change that language straight away. Don't wait till next time. Just always keep on top of it, and then it becomes just a part of who you are, what you naturally do. And then the more you do it, the shorter amount of time it is before you get back to being centered and back into the flow state.
Yeah. Oh, well, I'll give it a go and I will let you know what's happening
All right,
next week when I get back into my flow state.
Yeah. So you're a coach now, and you've got the events that are a bit of a backlog to help you formulate what you do. So tell us a bit about your coaching. Who are you coaching, and what's the aim there? Who are we helping?
So look, I've been a coach for 30 years.
Okay.
And I've owned gyms and everything. So I've coached people in a physical sense, a mental sense, now like more of an internal sense. And what I do is I recalibrate people, activate, and then evolution of them as well. So recalibrate just means that going through that breath work, coming back down to their foundation, removing any bad habits that they had or any trauma that's attached to their nervous system, making their subconscious make them act and react in a certain way, because, you know, most of our 95% of our conscious actions comes from our subconscious, and that's all from a history of series of events that's happened from our past. So what we want to do is just those things that happened in our past, they're always going to have happened, but we don't have to have the emotional attachment to them. So we just disconnect from those things and now start taking in new moments like that perfect shot, the amazing kick your son did with footy or something, taking in beautiful moments that happen right now. And then that's what starts to fill our cup going forward. And that's what we start drawing on. So it's those things. And then working an activation side of things. And now how do we put that into play in different scenarios in your life to start activating it? And then once that's worked out and your nervous system goes, okay, and you start working on the mental side of things. All right, how do we break this habit mentally? So that's what most people get stuck on. And then once they do that and have knowledge around what it actually is that they're getting stuck on a mental sense, then we start the evolution side of things to break that ceiling, stop the comparison with other people, and understanding where they're going in life, and just have them start shooting up there. So most people, especially men, you know, most men get so lost, and we compare, especially in business and sports and whatever it is, and high achievers, we're the worst. You know, look at shit, well, I'm doing all this. He's up there. Why am I up there? I hear it all the time. It's like, yeah, but that's them. Don't set your ceiling to their ceiling. Just remove yours so you don't have one. And then away you go.
That's good. So one of the events you did, you carried a mattress, or you ran a marathon carrying a mattress. Now, most people, I know the running space is getting quite popular, and, you know, by 40, I'm going to run a marathon and all that. Like, what makes you think to go, all right, I'll do a marathon, but I'm going to carry a mattress?
So I just come back from Mexico, and a mate I was living with, he's like, oh, the Gold Coast Marathon's in 2 days. I said, oh, yeah, are you going in it? He said, yeah. I said, oh, what are you doing, like the whole marathon? He goes, nah, just the half. I said, isn't there a full marathon though? He goes, yeah. And I said, why aren't you doing the full? He's like, oh, well, I've only trained for the half. I said, just do the full. And he goes, well, you bloody do the full. And I was like, oh, all right, I'll do it then. And I hadn't ran a marathon.
So no training, right? 2 days before you made
2
this
days
decision.
beforehand, right? And then I was like, my head just goes to the hardest possible way to do anything. So I thought, oh, hang on, just running a marathon, that's probably going to be a bit easy for me. And I said to him, oh, what's the most awkward thing to carry besides life on your shoulders? And we looked at each other and went, mattress. Whenever you're moving a house, that's the last thing you move. That's just the worst. It flops around everywhere. I said, all right, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to run the Gold Coast Marathon and carrying a mattress with a message on it saying, never lay down, never give up. So I got this mattress from this guy and I know an upholsterer, so I quickly raced it around to his factory. And I thought what I would do is just put a pole in the center of it and a hole so I could run like I'm carrying a sup, like a stand-up paddleboard. Yeah. But the problem was because I hadn't trained hanging on to this 37-pound mattress, my arm, like after about 200 meters, my arm started blowing up. And I was like, and my fingers couldn't hang on to this mattress. So I, without, again, no training or anything, so I've just thrown it up on my shoulder. And then that's how it was. Every like 20 seconds, I would just have this system where I'd roll it over my neck. My head would go sideways and I'd catch it on the other side and I'd keep on going.
Imagine a bloke doing a marathon and you're getting overtaken by a bloke carrying a mattress.
Well, that's what I was going.
Rolling the fucking thing over his neck.
And because my whole thing with it is, like people enjoy the journey. I just like to get it done, like I'm in a whole lot of pain. The longer I'm out there, the more pain I'm in. So I'm like, let's just get this thing done. So I didn't stop the whole time, not once through it. And I got to about the 15K mark and like lightning bolts are just shooting up my calves and legs. Like, whoa, whoa, whoa. And the media's running along next to me. I'm there trying to talk. I'm like, oh, hang on. Walk. All right, we're off. All right, here we go again. So the whole way, like from 15K, I'm doing this run, walk with like, pulling hammies and calves. Like, oh, calm down. Right, keep going. The worst thing about like the Gold Coast Marathon is you've got to run past the finish line and you've still got another about 10K to go and come back. Oh, so I'm like, it's just there. No. And then so I keep on running. And then it's funny because when I started coming into the home stretch, I'm thinking, my mind's going, oh, shit, am I going to make this? Like, I'm buggered. And then as soon as I saw that home stretch, I was like, right, here we go. And I hear over the microphone, here comes the mattress man. So I ran, and as soon as I got over, just dumped down and just laid on the mattress. So at least I had somewhere to lay afterwards.
Yeah, that's it. What is the recovery on these events? Like everyone talks about the feet and the mindset and all that. What about the recovery? Is there some ridiculous recovery stories that people probably don't even know of?
There is. Luckily, I haven't had too many like injuries as such, but I have like nervous system problems. Like my nervous system shuts down. So say for that one, because I hadn't trained for it. So beforehand, I was bench pressing about 140 kilos for 7 reps, let's say. And then after I'd recovered for about 10 days and gone back to the gym, I was struggling to lift 30 kilos.
Yeah, right.
So it just smashed me. And then my little toe from that one, was numb for about 4 years.
Oh, really?
From that one. And I've had other ones where I became dyslexic. I couldn't count and I couldn't remember people's names as well.
Yeah,
so I'd had to retrain. And even like the one that I just did before, it shot my nervous system a little bit. And then when I was in Sri Lanka, it was kind of like I had MS, like my lower part of my nervous system had completely gone where I was struggling to walk and stand. And my vision had gone as well. And it was making me hard to think also because my vision was going. So I was blurring everything out. So I had to, again, just recalibrate myself and go back down to the foundation. But when that happens for me, most people would get scared because I was like struggling to stand. It was like my knees are completely gone. So I was, some people would go, shit, is my athletic career over? But for me, it's interesting because I get to study myself and then work out, all right, this is where I am now. How do I get back up and how do I go ahead? So I was talking about it on Michael Mojo's podcast and people talk about resilience, but resilience just means you've gone through something and you're able to bounce back to where you were. Well, I don't believe in that. I think if we go through something, we've got to transcend resilience and it should be able to take us forward more, not back to where we were. Or else why are you going down? Why are you going into these dark places? Why are you taking the risk with business if you're not going to elevate even higher? So for me, it's interesting. And then I'm able to see, have a look at different neurodegenerative diseases that go on like Alzheimer's and dementia because I'm facing those symptoms and work out the foundation of them to be able to, all right, my thinking's coming back, my eyesight's coming back. Okay, this is what's working here. Okay, my body's functioning properly again. Okay, so we're changing things here. So I've been out of doing the events. I've been able to have a look at myself and heal people who've got autoimmune disease, because I just have a look at it in a different way and go back to that more foundational sense rather than the symptoms of what's happening. So I fixed there in the nervous system to be able to go forward again. Now, for me now I'm strong and fit, and now we're talking about playing golf across a nullarbor, right? So yeah, for me, it's very interesting when things like that happen for me. So I don't get scared. I'm more just step into it and study myself.
Yep. No, that's fantastic.
Have you got more records to come with all these feats, all these events you've attained,
Yeah,
or
look,
are you retiring the
placard? People always say to me, you know, why do you have to keep doing events? It's not like I have to keep doing them. I just like doing them. They're just who I am. Everyone's got their thing, you know. People go out and play golf because it's their thing as well. You know, doing these are my thing. There's not too much more I learn out of them. And I come to a point in my life where I was just like, okay, well, I've climbed up the side of a hot air balloon, so that's extreme. I paddled in Maldives in the ocean. I didn't really learn much out of that, just connection with people. And right, there's not too much more I can learn. Okay, I'm ready for the next steps. But then I started to really have a look at it, and it's just a love affair with it. You know, being out there, being, you know, in touch with Mother Nature as well, especially on the last one on the ocean. I'm 12 days out in the ocean by myself, just cruising around. It's a lot of times just to think and reflect back with yourself, look back at the land that you're always on as well. And so I love doing them, but there is 11 different ordeals that I want to do. And again, I've changed them from an event to an ordeal because they're an ordeal.
Yeah, here we go.
And it's not a challenge, but it's just like, you know, there's a bit of prep that needs to go into these things. So climbing up the side of a hot air balloon would be baseline for the first one. So I want to do these 11 different ones. I don't know when they're going to happen, though I know what they are that I'm going to do. So I will do them, but I'll keep doing events. I love doing it.
Expect some crazy stuff coming
Crazy
out
stuff,
Damien.
yeah, it'll be coming up. But at the moment, I'm just really enjoying being able to share this with other people and, you know, more performance advisor for other people, whether it's in business or as athletes, to be able to smash down that ceiling and just stay in that flow state. So for me, I'm able to drop into the flow state pretty much at any time throughout the day and get into it. And a lot of people, they get into a flow state, but it happens, you know, maybe 3, 4, 5 seconds once a week if they're lucky. So I'm able to help people drop into that at any time throughout the day.
Yeah, cool. So you've got a book coming out. Is it already released or
Yeah,
to?
Yeah, it's just I just released it. So again, you know, I guess that took me 4 weeks to write, but let's say 4 weeks and 1 day, I had no idea I was going to write a book again.
Yeah, so it's the same attitude, just I'm going to do it.
I just said, hey, you know, there should be a book on this. Oh, there's not a book. All right, shit, now I've got to write the book. Yeah. So it was kind of that. It's called The Masculine Man, and it's daily lessons in strength, purpose, and power. And what it is every month is a different subject, and every day is a topic on that subject. So it's just day by day, and it's how we learn, just that progressive sense of it all. And it goes through like helping men find their purpose, what their vision is, helping them stay calm in different situations, how to deal with relationships, how to grow wealth instead of chasing it, how to attract it, what strength is in a physical sense and a mental sense as well, and just where you're going to be the ultimate man, really. Because people are getting so lost of what that is and what we're supposed to be as well. You know, we're going through different movements of, you know, the toxic masculinity that was out about 7 years ago, and people were like, shit, well, what am I supposed to do now? Who am I? You know, so we're second guessing ourselves. So we're going away from our primal instinct as well. And women are more confused too, because they don't know what it actually is that they want in a man, because they're starting to lose themselves. And something I hear when I coach women all the time is where's all the men gone? You know, but really they're confused of what a man is. You know, and you guys going out and playing a round of golf, you know, that's what a masculine man should be doing as well. Like, we should have our own purpose that we're doing, and we have our own mission, our purpose, and our legacies that we're moving towards. And you guys are building a fantastic legacy here. But it's about understanding those. And then for me, even writing the book, even though I'm writing it, it was such a reflection upon myself of like, shit, like that is important, but I've put other things as a priority right now. So let's lift that up. Let's bring that back up to now as well. So even though I'm the expert in it, writing it, I'm still learning all these different things that I'm putting aside, because we can't be a master at everything all at once. Though we know everything, we have to be reminded sometimes. So that's what this book does. It's just, you read half a page and there's a couple of little actions that you do throughout the day. So so first thing in the morning, you're already achieving something. So you're getting up and you're reading half a page of book. Now, most men don't read anyway, right? But they would like to. So you're already learning something even before you start the day. But what it does also, it's not just about what you're reading in the book. You start embodying what you're reading to become the masculine man. So you just walk better, stand better. You just hold yourself better. You're more present in the moments as well. And it's more like a guideline of, right, this is how you act as a masculine man. Now there's people get so confused of it, there's the rite of passage to become a man. You turn 18, you're a man now. You need to handle yourself a little bit differently. Then there's the nice guy that we all know. He's the fake guy. Everyone's got to like him. Usually he comes from being bullied as a kid and so he needs people to like him and stuff. So he's got some things he needs to sort out as well. Then we work on into the good man. He's quite common, and I think it's what most of us try to work towards, is being a good man, and being kind, being present, being able to handle things, being able to change some tires as well. Be there for your woman also. Then becomes the masculine man. This is where I think people get confused. A lot of men think they're the alpha masculine man. But a masculine man, he needs to be capable as well to handle the business. And that business is, if threats come, he can handle that. Business threats come, he can handle that. Things with the family as well, he handles that and keeps that composure with it as well to be able to move through. So it's just it's a stronger, dominant person, not aggressive, but they're not aggressive because they know what they can do. So they choose not to. So it's about being more present with yourself and having a presence rather than coming in, walking into a space and having to blow your chest up and go, hey, I'm the big alpha male here. You don't need to do that. You walk in, you already know, and everyone else already knows as well. So then that way you start to attract more, especially in business and in wealth, you start to attract more wealth because you're not chasing it. So you're able just to hold space with it, know what you want out of the conversation or out of the business deal. And if it doesn't happen, it doesn't matter. You're away. And usually that person will go, hang on, shit, why isn't he chasing me for it? So then they start to come to you with a deal. Okay, let's take that deal. But it's about being able to know that whatever situation comes up, you're going to be able to handle it, to be able to keep moving forward. And it's not to say that life's easier at all, but you just have more pride in yourself of everything that you've done in life to be able to hold yourself in a certain way. So that's what this book does. Just helps you with that. With every day, just gives you that reminder, gives you little tests to do in the day, little actions to do in the day. Sometimes they're in the gym, sometimes they're just breathing, sometimes it's how you hold space with your woman. It's, how to give her a massage, how to understand her energy as well, understanding your feminine energy and your masculine energy as well, where they sit, and being comfortable not saying anything, knowing that you're saying everything by not saying anything, not needing just to over talk and dominate the situation or try to solve every problem that your woman has. Just be able to stand there and listen to her and see what she wants out of the situation.
Rather than trying to solve her problems.
As men, we try to solve every problem.
Just give her a hug.
Yeah, she's like, oh, I'm thirsty. Oh, here's water. I don't want water. Yeah. I just want to share that I'm thirsty. Yeah. We go,
I'll solve
Did you want water or not water?
Right? Why can't I understand?
Are you thirsty? Have a drink. But they think differently, right? So it paints that picture, but really it's just about putting yourself in more of that present state of how you should be, and we all have flaws. None of us are perfect at all. But what it does do, even for me, like even though I wrote the book, I'll just keep reading it over and over and over because it just gives me that reminder every day and just puts me into that present state. If you're thinking about golf, then that's what you're embodying at the time. If you're waking up and you're thinking, how can I be a masculine man? How can I show up to the world? And that's the first thing that you're reading. Well, then that's how you're carrying yourself throughout the day as well. But it helps you get into the flow state, how to be a better athlete, how to be better at business, all those sorts of things. And it's all just about being able to control your emotions through every different situation as well. So good for kids, good for even masculine men, right? Who are, oh, I'm a masculine man, awesome. Cool, but there's probably a couple of things that you're lacking on.
Yeah, no, that sounds like a great book. We grabbed a copy yesterday. We're starting to have a read of that, so we'll make sure we give you a review and a bit of honest feedback.
Appreciate that.
And if we will throw the link in the description of the show notes, and you can go out there and grab The Masculine Man and have a read, and make sure you tell Damien what you think.
Where can people follow you, mate, when they want to find you and learn about you, work with you? Where do they go?
So you can go on my website, damienrider.com, or Instagram's probably the best. Just reach out to me on there, Damien Rider.
Cool.
Fantastic.
One of the other things that I didn't actually realise about you, and I was talking to Rowan over there, is, have you heard of Damien? He's coming in. Yep. He's on Gladiator. How was the Gladiator experience? So I wasn't going to bring it up, but it was obviously a fair few years ago, the old Gladiator show.
I went on Gladiators 2 years ago.
Oh, was it 2 years ago?
Yeah.
Oh, I missed that one too.
Yeah, it was about 2 years ago. It was, look, it was an amazing experience. And the good thing was I turned 48 while I was on the show.
Yep.
And I'm sitting on this foam pyramid after throwing these people off it. And Liz Ellis, she goes, oh, it's your birthday today. And I said, yeah. And she goes, wouldn't you rather be somewhere else? I said, I've just turned 48. I'm dressed up like a superhero and I'm throwing grown men off a pyramid. Why would I want to be anywhere else? I'd say it was so good to be asked to be on that show because I was 13 years older than the next other Gladiator. So still to be pushing myself and acknowledged as, a great athlete in Australia to be able to do that. Yeah, it was an awesome experience. Plus, most of my events I would do by myself. So to have a team there cheering everyone on and everyone cheering you on, that was quite special for me also.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a good show back in the day. I did miss that it was on again 2
reboot,
years ago. But, it shows how much TV I watch. So what's coming up? What are you doing in the next few years? Or is it hard to get hyped up, or is it about teaching people what you've learned over the years? Is that your focus at the moment?
Definitely. I mean, the book's a big thing for me, the Masculine Man book, and really that's, it's a blueprint into my mind as well. I've got a film that's coming out called Heart of the Sea 2. So that's about the last little aquabike pedal, so the last 10 years, and finding and sharing with people what I think's in the bottle, the strength, trust, gratitude, love, connection. So every one of my events, it just shows how I come up with those. And it's not about how I articulate what those words mean. It's how I embodied them to be able to go forward to the next event as well. So really psyched about that one. And then, as I said, events just kind of pop up for me. I don't really know when they do. Like I said, I've got the 11 odd deals. But I mean, I could walk out in the car and go, hey, we're doing the Nullarball one. Who knows? If someone is listening and says, we'll sponsor you or do the Nullarball one, cool, well, let's go and do it.
What sort of financial costs are involved in some of these events? I'm surely if you're paddling across and you've got a movie coming, is it a Netflix show? Is it something similar? You've got a team behind you and things like that. Is it all sponsorship driven, or do you have to try and fund some yourself? Or
look, it's definitely both. I mean, every time I do an event, it's like starting a new business. So I've got to market a product. I've got to bring in the funds for it. I've got to work out how to distribute it, and then I've got to get it done and put it out to market, which is doing the event really. So there's a lot of costs that go into it. And sponsors do cover it, which, I'm super grateful for. But it's also, there's that thing that no matter what, I'll get it done. If I say I'm going to do something, I'll go and do it. So a lot of the times, especially at the start, I'd had to sell cars and everything just to go and get it done if a sponsor had pulled out and just quickly change. So they always cost me a bit. The films cost a bit. But, for me, I don't really focus on how much money I make out of them as the business sort of sense, is what I get out of it to be able to share. So I always look at the bigger picture of everything rather than I'm just going to do one event, break a world record, go on the talk show circuit and cruise around. Hey, I paddled 800 kilometers. For me, they're just little stepping stones for what I'm going to achieve. And now it's come up to that 10-year mark. Now it's time for me to really just knuckle everything down and start coaching people in a completely different way than they ever have been before, because everyone's just getting so held back. We've got biohacking that's coming out as well. A lot of people moving into that space. But also with the biohacking, that's optimizing your body and where you want to go on for longevity. But what happens with that longevity as well? Like, why do you want to live longer? What more experiences are you going to have? So, and then if you've got trauma that's stuck in there, then getting the right data, numbers, and optimizing your body, you're still going to have some screws loose from back here. So for me, it's about, okay, like again, how do we make your life more efficient? Let's just quickly recalibrate this, then move into optimization with the biohacking. Now let's see where you're going to go. So moving on to that sort of space. So I'm super excited about that. I've just redesigned while I was in Sri Lanka these 2 incredible programs that no one else is doing at the moment. And again, just going through a couple of different situations that happened with me, nervous system shutting down, to understand, okay, well, even if someone's nervous system hasn't shut down, all their vision's gone blurry and they can still think properly, how is this going to benefit them from what I'm doing? So then now I've just been able to test all of those things and put them into place, not just for myself, but for other people, to go, right, people are just evolving big time. For me, it's not just about evolving myself. It's, I do what no one else has done, so other people will do what I'll never do. It means I just change people's baseline. So now let's just open yourself up to where you can go. We spoke about before about the guy who you had on here doing the drive, long range, right?
The long world record holder for ball speed and swing speed.
Yeah. And people were saying, and people always said, you can't run you can't run a mile in under 4 minutes, then it gets done. So people live on other people's ceilings in comparison of it, right? So now he's just like, well, that's what they said you could drive to, but now I've just gone further than it. So where else can I go to? And then for me, all of these events that I do, that's all I hope people ask themselves is, well, what else can I do? And that's it. And then just start to open themselves up. I don't ask people to go and paddle through sharks or skateboard across countries or anything like that. It's just about what else can I do? And not in a comparison to what have I done, what can they do personally? Where can they go? So again, they just start breaking apart that ceiling as well that's holding them down, and get out of that tunnel vision to open themselves up, because it's kind of endless.
It is,
It's endless. Like we don't know where it is.
Thinking it's like, what else can I do?
Yeah.
I've just, I've got this ceiling that, I think
we don't know where it is.
No, that's right.
At all. And people will say, have you reached peak? And I'm like, well, I'll never reach peak.
Yep.
Because it may be in my body physically, but mentally and emotionally and spiritually, I'm always going, so where's my peak, But that excites me as well to keep on going towards that. It's not like I'm chasing it. It's just an embodiment of who I am to get the most I can out of my life, and to see what's possible for me. So I put myself in these situations that everyone says is impossible. But to be honest, they're kind of easy. The hard part's just preparing it and getting someone to say, yeah, you can sit on top of a hot air balloon. But actually doing it for me it's not hard anymore at all. That I don't look at them as a struggle or anything. I just put the little craft in the water and off I go. And I have 2 choices. I either don't do it or I just go and do it.
Yep. Now, well, I'm excited to see what you do, and you've inspired me to try and be a bit better than I have been myself, and definitely going to take on the book and see where that goes. So I appreciate everything you've done, and you've been able to give us your time today, and I hope everyone, the listeners, have really gained some knowledge bombs and some strategies, especially they could probably take on the golf course, but more importantly, life and business and relationships and things like that. So appreciate your time, Damien. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks, guys, and congratulations again.
No
appreciate
worries.
it.
Thanks, mate. Cheers. See ya.